Naturally Beautiful and Optimal Wellness Summit. My name is Elizabeth Engen, and our sponsor for the summit is Empower You, Jenny Halligan, products that synergistically give your body premium nutrition. And we have an amazing guest today. His name is Dr. Larry Caldwell. If you guys love him and love what he has to offer, please subscribe to the channel here. Dr. Larry Caldwell his title is he's a doctor of Oriental medicine, and I personally know him, and I've experienced his wellness techniques, and I want to know what Doctor of Oriental medicine means. But he's written the book Revealing Healing, and he's here today to talk to all of us about how our emotions contribute to the food we eat and why we eat certain foods, among other things. So, Dr. Larry, welcome.
Thank you. It's good to be here. It's good to see you again, too, Elizabeth.
Well, thank you so much. And your practice is in Eden Prairie, is that correct, Minnesota?
It's now in Maple Grove. I now practice in Maple Grove. Kind of a limited practice, but yes, I'm doing somewhat of a sabbatical. So.
Well, awesome. So people even can come to see Dr. Larry in Maple Grove. So good to see you. Thank you for your time and sharing with us. We have Dr. Larry has a lot of great knowledge to share with us today. I'm always impressed with his knowledge, and he's been in his industry for many, many years. So Dr. Larry, please tell us what optimal wellness means to you.
That's a very good question, Elizabeth. And it's kind of a long answer, but optimal wellness, I look at it like an education. Like there are 3 levels: spirit, mind, and body. Most people have heard about that, spirit, mind, and body. So on each of these levels, there's different other levels. So I liken it to going to school. Like if you go to first grade and you get a basic education, and then you go through school and you get high school education, and then you want to go further. So they're in these different levels of optimal physical health, optimal mental health, and optimal spiritual health. There are all these different levels where you go along, you're learning more about each one of these aspects, and then you decide how far you want to go. Some want to go all the way and master all 3 levels. That'd be optimal health.
Awesome. So can you tell me what now, because I didn't know this until today, I thought you were an acupuncturist, but tell me what Doctor of Oriental Medicine means. I don't know. I have no idea.
Doctor of Oriental Medicine is a title used for practitioners who have gone through an extensive education in all aspects of Oriental medicine. That includes herbs, acupuncture, acupressure, moxibustion, exercise, nutrition, and counseling, or just listening. So there are different areas of Oriental medicine that we've been trained in, and then we use those tools to help facilitate well-being or health. Acupuncture happens to be one of the most notable ones because a lot of people are either terrified of needles or concerned about being needled.
Right. And you went to school in New Mexico, is that right?
I went to school at Southwest Acupuncture College in Albuquerque, New Mexico, and received my master's degree there. And I've been in practice for 20 years. So I've gained a lot of knowledge over that time.
Absolutely. And you started here, you practiced in Minnesota in 1997, is that right?
1998.
1998. Well, I was close.
Yes, very close, yes.
And personally, I've seen Dr. Larry, and I will be seeing him again. He's a fantastic practitioner. So I am interested, Dr. Larry, in hearing about, because I didn't know this. I have read your book, but talk to us about how our emotions contribute to the food that we eat. That's new information to me.
Okay. In the book, I mostly tried to bring out the connection that we have health issues due to our emotions. Not all health issues are due to our emotions, but a lot of them do contribute to our basic health. And so our emotions also control what we eat and how we eat them and when we eat. And if you think about our digestive system, if our digestive system is not working, then we're not absorbing things. And so what I've realized is that it's not so much about what we eat or what kind of supplements we're taking, it's about what we're absorbing. If our body is not absorbing all the nutrients that we're putting in, it's just kind of being wasted. So then it comes back to, okay, how do we make our body absorb better? And that involves working on the body, doing physical body work, but also finding out what is congesting the body so that it's not functioning better. And
Can
then
you,
so, and that
right, can you talk more about that?
you go into the emotional component, and you can find emotional components very quickly when you talk about food to people and nutrition about people. One of the things I realized when I started practice is that people are very protective about what they eat or what they don't eat. We have all these nutrition plans out there, right? People go on all these diets all the time saying, I tried this, and nothing else works. When we see the ones that do work, the ones that work tend to go into an emotional component. They try to look at what's going on with a person and boost their morale about it, boost their morale about themselves. And that's exactly what you have to do in finding optimal health. You're trying to find a way to boost your morale so that you're eating better, for one thing. Once you start learning about food, you start eating better, and then treating yourself better. You're not treating yourself better if you're going around overweight and eating more foods that contribute to that weight gain, or diabetic.
So are you saying if I loved myself and if I opened myself up to I'm not exactly sure what you're saying. So feeling my emotions, is that going to help me absorb more of my food?
Potentially, yes, because a lot of us are trained not to feel very good about ourselves. And so we're not really taking care of ourselves. A lot of times we're told, we hear the expression that our body is our temple. But most people don't think that our body is our temple. Most people have been abused either emotionally or physically, or just in society. It's just hard to feel good about yourself. So when you don't feel good about yourself, you're not going to take care of yourself in the same way when people who feel really good about themselves do. They look at what they're eating, they watch what they're eating, they exercise, they seek counseling, they do all the things they need to do to really improve their health. A lot of other people don't. Some people feel that they deserve bad health, and so they eat. Some people use food to protect themselves by gaining weight. If they can gain weight, they protect themselves. There are a lot of different emotional components to eating.
I agree. So can you tell us a little bit about your practice, what you do, and because I personally find, Dr. Larry, that it's very unique, your specific methods. Can you tell everyone a little bit about that?
In my practice, what I try to do is do several things at once, because I have a limited amount of time with you. Even if we're spending an hour, hour and a half, 2 hours, it's a very limited amount of time with you compared to the amount of time that you spend outside of the office. So when you come in, I like to ask a lot of questions. It gives me an idea about who you are and where your mindset is. And then I try to make correlations between, let's stick with the food concept, between the food that you eat and the physical problems that you're experiencing. So then after that, then we go to a body work. And that's where the acupressure and the needling come into play. So in part of the conversation, I get to know a little bit more about you, and sometimes people reveal things that they haven't revealed to other people. So I'm trying to create a space to where you feel free enough to do so. And then through that, we're releasing energies stored in your body that have been bound up, and by releasing those energies, you can start healing. Your body starts healing, and your emotions start healing. And all this, when you combine it all together, starts to become a spiritual process.
Absolutely, and I did experience that with you, Dr. Larry. That's why I came to see you. As you know, I wanted to release the stored energy. I have experienced a lot of anger in my life, and I think I stored those emotions as well. So you helped me tremendously. Thank you.
Well, thank you. You're welcome. You're welcome. And that's the point. We tend to bottle up our emotions, or even if we're not bottling up our emotions, if we're expressing any type of emotion all the time, that means that we're not coming to peace with whatever's going on in our lives. And that's the emotional part. And it becomes a spiritual part, trying to find peace within ourselves. So it's a multi-level process of working with the body. The body can tell us that there's something that our mind is not happy with. And then if we can find out what's going on emotionally, then we can start reframing what's going on in our body. And so we can release those energies and start having our body heal naturally, because we have a fantastic system.
So can you,
go ahead.
Yeah. Can you talk more about the mindset? Like, I understand it, but how do you help the people that you see, your clients, with their mindset and shifting that for wellness for them?
Sometimes it can be very simple, making associations. Talking about, in this case, what food does for you. You know, what do you get out of eating, and how does that make you feel? What kind of foods do you eat? We make a lot of different associations to food. When we're growing up, sitting around the table with our family, there may be certain foods that we really enjoy because there was a good time that we had with our family. And so those are the foods we like. Or the foods have been passed down from generation to generation, or the eating styles have been passed down from generation to generation, or just a generation. So there's a lot we spend a lot of time about food, but there's a reason we spend a lot of time with food. It's a social thing, it's an emotional thing, and it's it can be how we feel about ourselves. So I try to make these associations by getting the person to talk about themselves. Hopefully they'll talk about themselves.
Okay, so tell me a little bit how the acupuncture works in conjunction with your practice, what you do with your patients.
Okay, let's start out with the concept that we have 5 basic emotions: anger, joy, melancholy, grief, and fear. Now these emotions, we have a thought, and that thought creates our emotion. And then that emotion creates physical responses in our body. Those physical responses are catalysts for movement, or for evincing those emotions, for displaying those emotions. If we do not display those emotions, those chemicals that were set to do so go somewhere. That energy that was set to do so has to go somewhere. If it doesn't come out, then they get stored in our body and create blockages. Sometimes they're big blockages depending on the emotion tied to it. Sometimes they're small ones that add up on a daily basis. And so these blockages, where the energy is stuck, then it starts inhibiting the flow of fluids, body fluids. And then when you have that happen, then you have other pains, different things. So there's energy, and there's body fluids, and cellular tissue. So there's the 3 levels there as well. So these energies can get stuck in the body for a long period of time.
And that's why I came to see you.
Yeah. And it could be something small. It can start out to be something small, like a pebble in your shoe, right? The pebble in your shoe is not a big deal. It's, you know, at the time you can take your shoe off and throw out the pebble, and then you've got healing. But if you leave the pebble in your shoe and you never take it out, and you try to address it differently, you don't take it out, you just keep walking on it, you keep using it, and you keep trying to deny it, then it becomes a whole lot more problem than just a simple pebble in your shoe. And we do that with our emotions.
Absolutely. And you also teach classes about not only with acupuncture, but you also teach classes about acupressure. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Yes, I developed a series of classes that start people out. I started out with a 12-point acupressure class, which in that class I show you 12 points that you can use, that you can do yourself, that can inspire your body towards healing. It can do a lot of things. Since your body is a closed system, everything's connected. And by pressing points, we can get things to move in your body, and it can bring up emotions, physical responses, a whole myriad of things that can change in your body. And it doesn't have to be right now either. Sometimes we get things set in motion, and you might not have a reaction to it for a week, 2 weeks, or 3 weeks, or even longer. It depends on what's going on with you. So each person is unique. And again, each person being unique, and as if we relate it to nutrition, that means you could eat cake all day and not affect you. Somebody else could have half a piece of cake and it can affect them dramatically. Because each of us are different.
So you teach people 12 points to press on a regular basis in order to move the energy, are you saying, in people's bodies?
Yes, it moves the energy and keeping keep things active, and also making you aware that there's stuck energy. Stuck energy displays itself as pain. Okay, so if you start pressing on your body and you start feeling pain in your body, that says that there's something stuck, either there or somewhere else in your system. There's an aspect of Oriental medicine called meridians, whereby there's concentrated lines of energy in our body, which move energy throughout our body, and they're all connected. And these meridians are also connected to different organ systems. So you can have something that's painful in your hand, but it's really reflecting something that's going on in your large intestine or even your heart, depending on what meridian it is. So it's just another form of becoming aware of really what's going on with you. Because a lot of times we deny, we hide, we protect ourselves, and our body is kind of like the physical aspect of that, and it will tell us that something's not right.
Okay, so now I'm kind of putting you on the spot here, Dr. Larry. I did not prepare you for this, but I'm sure you'll be fantastic at this. I want to ask you, can you recall 2 patients or people that you've worked with that that just received great results, that you really feel like you changed their life by the work that you do?
Well, I've had a few people that come in, and it depends on what, if we're sticking with the nutrition aspect. A lot of times people come in and want to lose weight. And so I've had people come in and wanting to lose weight. And then when we started doing the conversation, I had a lady who weighed over 400 pounds, and she'd done several nutritional things. And what we ended up talking about was a strong emotional thing that she had. She'd been hurt in a relationship, and she started eating a lot after that, and she gained a lot of weight. Weight does a lot of things for people. In this case, to her, by gaining the weight, she became invisible. And when she lost the weight, she became visible to people. People started noticing her, men and women. So for a while, she just wanted to hide out, and she stayed at that weight. After a period of time, she started to realize that she could do it another way, and started losing the weight and started getting back into the flow of things, back into relationships. But that's another aspect. Is like, I've had patients where they come in and they got into relationships at the size that they are, and then they realized that they wanted more out of their life. And once they started losing weight, it changed the relationship because they started feeling different about themselves. I've even had one lady get a divorce because she married this man the size that she was, and then she lost the weight, and he didn't like that because he didn't want someone thinner and prettier than what he started out with. So it can make a difference. And that's an emotional, physical response.
And I'm just curious, the woman that was 400 pounds, did she lose weight after a period?
She ended up losing the weight and then having relationships again. But again, it becomes, and that was a huge emotional component. Most of the people who gain a lot of weight, albeit our foods are not the best. I mean, if you're drinking soda pops every day, that's going to contribute to your health. But we have so much information out there. There's so much knowledge that we can all tap into that can show us that some of the foods that are processed foods, some of these things are deleterious to our health, but people still do it anyway. And there are reasons they do it. And it's not just economical, there are other reasons. And so my point is, let's get to the root of the situation. Let's get to the root of what's going on and not constantly work on the symptoms, but let's find the root so that we can actually deal with it and then move on.
Absolutely. So what are 3 things that you, maybe across the board, that you see from people in general that they could start doing today that could really get to the root of their wellness and their well-being?
One thing they could do is ask themselves why they eat certain foods. What do certain foods do for them? I mean, we talk about there's gluten out there and people don't want to be gluten-free, but a lot of people have also developed a lot of allergies because they are not addressing their issues. We do have a lot of external problems out there, pollens, all these other things. What makes a difference is what it does to your system. If your system is healthy and you don't have internal conflicts, and you're not trashing your own system, then you have a better chance of dealing with whatever's going on outside in the outside world. So look at what you're eating. Why are you eating this? What is it doing for you? Some people will drink coffee because they feel more energetic. After a while, coffee, because it's a drug, will end up doing the opposite of what they're looking for. And coffee in itself can create more problems than what it started to correct. So again, if you're having to use food as a drug instead of medicinally, then that can be a problem.
So that's one. Do you have two more?
Okay. Another one is getting in touch with your body. Touching your body, being aware of what's going on in your system. If you have pain all over your body, that means there's a lot of blockages in your body. So then you need to find out what's causing those blockages. Sometimes it could be repetitive motion. Sometimes it could be the job that you're working in. Sometimes it's a job that you're working in and you just really don't like. And so your system is behaving in a way to tell you that there's something going on with you, that your emotions are not in concert with your behavior. And 3, find somebody to help you. It's hard to do all this on your own. It's hard to achieve advanced consciousness on your own. It helps to have someone that you can go to, that you can trust, to facilitate your healing. It doesn't mean that they're going to heal you. It means that they're going to facilitate it. And what I try to do in my practice is help facilitate you to take action to heal yourself.
Absolutely. And I personally, Dr. Larry, I knew you for quite some time before I approached you and started to work with you. And I absolutely feel like you're very intuitive with knowing what's going on with a person. Let me ask you that. Do you know intuitively by speaking with them, talking about the mindset issue, or is it working with the body itself? How does that intuition show up for you?
I get my information in a lot of different ways, and the intuition is part of it. If you think about everything we do has energy, right? Everything has energy, and we send out that energy all the time. So if you're trained, you can actually pick up information from another person. We pick up information from another person even when we're not trained. We just sense something. Like somebody walks in the room, we can tell that they're not in a very good mood. We can see their facial expression. We can see how they're carrying themselves. We can feel an energy. So when people come to see me, I can sense what's going on with them. And sometimes I can pick up their energy and find out things that they have problems with. And I try to use the intuition to help them bring that forward. So yes, intuition, being able to tap into their energy system and listening to what they have to say.
Well, I remember on a couple of occasions, Dr. Larry, you helped me uncover things that I didn't know that was there. And I think maybe it's just the whole process of coming to see you on a regular basis and, you kind of getting to know me and work with me. And like you said, it's layers. It's a whole process of one thing leads to another.
It is. That's why I wrote the book, Revealing Healing. People were coming to see me and they said, well, you're not doing exactly acupuncture. There's more to what you're doing. And so I had to spend time with what am I really doing? And what I found was that I'm revealing to you some of the things that you're hiding from yourself and some of the things that really concern you. I mean, we go through, our conscious mind can play games with us. We can deny things. We can feel things that we don't necessarily really feel. But we tap into the subconscious and it brings forth more information. And that's what I try to do, is help bring forth that information to reveal to you what you may not be looking at, which is causing you problems because you're not looking at it.
It's also fascinating, and it's even more fascinating for me personally to have experienced it. But tell us, Dr. Larry, tell us a little bit about your journey, like how, because I know you didn't start out in life wanting to become a doctor of Oriental medicine. You've got a very unique path. Can you just tell us a little bit about your journey, your path, how you got to where you are today?
All right. Briefly, I was an architect, and I had pain in my legs from running and shin splints and something and other things. And so I went to an acupuncturist, a local acupuncturist there in Albuquerque. And he started talking to me about Oriental medicine. And also, I found that by putting needles in my leg and my hand, my sinuses started clearing up. So that set me on, that sparked my interest. I wanted to find out how sticking a couple needles in my hands and my feet, my sinus congestion started clearing up, and also the pain in my leg went away. So over a period of years of seeing him, I learned more about Oriental medicine. And at one point in time, I was in a situation where I needed to find another way of living. So his wife, who happened to be an acupuncturist, came to a building, a store that I didn't frequent either. And we met in the middle of the store by chance. And she said that they were going to open up an acupuncture college in Albuquerque. And I started doing that. And I've been very pleased. It's quite an education to learn about energy and how we can manipulate energy to create better health. So it was kind of a process. And then so that led me to understand that Oriental medicine can help bring forth aspects of our healing that we have never tapped into.
Just so fascinating and so fabulous. Your work is really, truly unique in the world, and I appreciate the work that you do. Now, before we wrap up, is there one thing that you want to leave with people, one message, one final thing that you'd like to talk about or tell people?
I think there may be. This whole healing process, it's more than just learning what's going on with you. By us healing, when we talk about we can change the world 1% at a time, by us healing ourselves on these 3 different levels, we can bring forth a different kind of consciousness to the planet, to people. And there are more and more people now than there ever have been before. So it behooves us, we are a great resource. And if we start healing individually and then collectively, we can actually really change the planet and change things. But it does take a lot of work. It does take a lot of self-interest to do so. And I encourage people to do so. There's light at the end of the tunnel. It's not all pain and grief. There's a sense of happiness, a sense of joy, and a sense of caring about what goes on in your life that you can achieve through this type of process.
So how would a person start if they're interested in the journey, in the process? If someone has not begun the process or the journey, how would they start?
I would say go see an acupuncturist. You can also call me and I can talk to you and get you started and get you going on different aspects of healing. Like I said, there are different levels. Same way with practitioners. There are different levels of practitioners. Some want to treat first grade symptoms. Some want to treat high school grade symptoms. And some want to treat the college level or master's level symptoms. So seek out someone that wants to treat you where you are, and then hopefully educate you enough to facilitate your pursuit of higher awareness, higher education, higher knowledge of how to improve your health.
Excellent. Thank you for that. So you mentioned getting in touch with you. How can someone get in touch with you, Larry? What's your website? How can they follow you?
There are 2 main ways. You can go to Dr. Larry at ahealthonline.com, or my phone number 612-275-0716, and talk to me, and we can talk about where you could go or what kind of avenues you can take, where you are in your healing process. And then we can go from there. It just takes a step, or a phone call, or an email.
Absolutely. And I endorse your book as well, Revealing Healing. I would like to reread it because there are things in there that I may not have read the first time or the second. I think I've actually read it 2.5 times.
Oh, wow. Very good. And people can contact me to get a copy of the book.
Excellent. Well, again, I want to thank you for your time, Larry. It's been very valuable for me and others to watch you and hear about your expertise. And if all of you want to, please come back to see 21 experts talk about being naturally healthy and beautiful with our Natural, Beautiful, and Optimal Wellness Summit. Have a great day.
Thank you. Bye-bye.